Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Peter Booker, and today I'll be giving the forecast for January the 12th, and we'll be looking at Monday through about Thursday in great detail here. And a couple of things this week. We got some really cold air that's going to be moving back into at least the eastern half of the country, and with it, we're going to have some chances of snow. Unfortunately for the snow lovers in the mid-Atlantic and the southeast, many of you have been seeing the last couple of days this chance of snow over the southern Appalachians, places like Virginia and Maryland, north and east into New York City and Boston, Massachusetts. It doesn't look like it's going to play out for now. It looks like the storm system we've been watching the last couple of days is tracking a little bit further inland, and with it, those snow chances are going to be kind of confined to basically West Virginia into Maine. And we'll kind of highlight the region coming up in this video. But to begin, let's kind of look at what's happening on the radar as of early Monday morning. So I want to begin over the northeast. And not a whole lot is happening as of this time. We can see where there was some snow shower activity around the Capital District in Albany. But as you move further to the west, you can see where the snow shower activity was just east of the Finger Lake region, south and east of Syracuse. But again, that was coming to an end. And even northward towards the Tug Hill Plateau, there was some snow shower activity early Monday morning. Now, the same thing was true as you get into New Hampshire and even into Maine. There was some snow showers left over, again with that cold front pushing through the area. Snow squalls were actually moving through much of the northeast Sunday evening, and some hazardous driving conditions as we saw a quick burst of an inch, maybe 2 inches of snowfall in some areas with that cold front pushing through. The system that's associated with that, this low pressure, is over New Brunswick. And you can kind of see here on the radar where we have heavy rain and even some heavy snowfall. Now further to the south and east, we can see over Miami we have some shower activity early Monday morning. Again, this should be clearing out by mid-morning. Overnight, we could see maybe a quarter to half an inch of rainfall along the eastern shore there of South Florida. And further still to the northwest, the big story, I think, for the lower 48 is the rainfall over Washington State. So yeah, looking at Seattle, we can see the rainfall activity both to the west and the east of the city, as well as the north to Vancouver. And some places were receiving some really heavy rain overnight. And once again, as you go into the Olympics and then also the Cascade region of Washington State, areas there picking up several inches of rainfall between tonight and tomorrow morning. Now this heavy rain will extend further into Vancouver overnight and into Monday morning. A lot of this heavy rain will be moving out of the Washington area, especially as we get into Monday afternoon. And still further to the east as we get into western parts of Montana, basically towards the Glacier National Park, we have some snowfall activity as of early Monday morning. But the rest of the country, as we zoom out here on the radar image, is fairly dry. There's not a whole lot of activity going on. But that will change with time, and we'll kind of get into that now in the next image here. All right, so in this animation here, we're seeing the jet stream from Monday into the day Thursday. I'm going to do my best here to kind of draw where the jet stream is going to end up as we get into Thursday morning. And basically, anywhere from eastern Texas into Florida, at least northern portions of Florida, could see sub-freezing temperatures as we get into Thursday morning and even Friday morning. And with it, there's the opportunity for the development of a low pressure system. And unfortunately for snow lovers, what we were seeing a couple of days ago was something maybe off the Carolina coast, Delmarva Peninsula, that area, and that would have delivered some snowfall over western Virginia into Maryland and possibly back into New York City and Boston. But the latest runs have kind of put the development of that low pressure system more so over Maryland and northern Virginia. And As you know, watching these forecasts, typically what you see is snow on the backside of these low pressure systems. So the usual places that get snow, like western Virginia, the mountainous areas right of the Appalachians, western Pennsylvania, western New York, extending into northern Vermont and even northern Maine, those areas will likely receive the snowfall as we get into the day Thursday and Friday. So forecast has kind of changed over the last couple of days for that chance of snow. Okay, so the next thing I want to show here is the height anomalies with the broad ridging over the west and the trough over the east. And with it, we have the cold temperatures right Monday morning over places like New York State, extending into Maine, but also over the mid-Atlantic and Midwest, sub-freezing temperatures this morning. But putting this map in motion, we can see how the ridge begins to break down first over the Great Lakes and then over the southeast as we get into the day Thursday. And we can see some really low height anomalies for this region, even for January standards. And again, this is significant when we think about not only the cold air being in place right over this region, but also the development of a storm system. Now, as we put these temperatures in motion, we can see how the cold air breaks down initially during the day Tuesday. And we actually, for a period of time over, let's say, the Great Plains and the Midwest, and even extending into the mid-Atlantic, we have temperatures in the 50s during the day Tuesday and part of the day Wednesday. And this is before that reinforcing shot of cold air moves in Thursday morning. Now, initially, we have a low-pressure system that's moving out of Alberta through southern Canada, bringing snowfall to the Great Lakes and places like Montreal. But with it, we have this trough really diving to the south, and there's the opportunity for another storm system to develop. This particular model run showing a development over the Delmarva Peninsula, but the latest runs are more showing it track to the west. So the snowfall activity you're seeing here, let's say over portions of eastern Pennsylvania, eastern New York, are less likely to occur. All right, so I did want to zoom into the northeast briefly to show you where the snowfall will be occurring. It looks like beginning, let's say, Thursday afternoon, we'll have snowfall over eastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania, western New York, rain changing to snow, right, as the system begins to develop. And snowfall will likely occur not only in, let's say, these regions of western Pennsylvania, western New York, but also as you get into northern Vermont, New Hampshire, northern portions of Maine. The system really could get going in Maine, especially Friday morning, so it could overperform here, just based on the latest model run, where there could be a region of 5 to 10 inches of snow that sets up over Maine, which is not uncommon for that region when these systems do develop. But it looks like chances of snow over New York City and Boston have kind of diminished over the last couple of runs. Now, looking at precipitation amounts from Monday into Thursday, we can see, generally speaking, 1/4 to 1/2 inch of precipitation over northern portions of Minnesota and anywhere downwind from the Great Lakes. So this is true for the UP of Michigan, also the lower peninsula of Michigan. Another favored region is over West Virginia, right, with the orographic lifting in that area. Portions of Pennsylvania, New York State, extending into Maine. Some of this will be in the form of rain, though, as that system begins to form over the northeast. So not all of this will be in the form of snowfall. Now, I do want to point out Washington State. This shows Sunday night into Monday here, so it includes the rainfall with that system that we were seeing on the radar before. And the coastal mountains here of western Pennsylvania and the northern Cascades could pick up a couple of inches of precipitation between now and Monday morning. So just be aware of that. And of course, anyone watching in Vancouver, Canada, you guys again could see several inches of precipitation. And of course, heavy mountain snow for areas above 10,000 feet. All right, so I do want to take a closer look at the snow that's possible Thursday into Friday over the northeast. One of the things I want to point out here is that there could be a clear cutoff in the snow. especially if that system begins to track further to the north and west in its development. Again, it could track further south again between now and Thursday for these models, but it is entirely possible there could be a cutoff to the snow that's a little bit further to the north and west. And what likes to set up with these systems is typically a dry slot through the southern Hudson Valley. This doesn't mean that there won't be snow for the Catskills westward towards Syracuse. In fact, Syracuse could pick up 5 to 6 inches of snow. And that can be very likely for eastern portions of Ohio, western Pennsylvania, through much of western New York, northern portions of Vermont, New Hampshire, into Maine. A lot of these areas could easily pick up 5 to 7 inches of snow. And where it's showing 10 inches of snow, again, it might be overperforming in this model, and things could change as we get into the day Thursday. But the main thing I want to point out is that the chances of snow occurring along the I-95 corridor are slim to none. There is some chance as you get into, let's say, Maine with this system. But I think even in this particular model of the GFS, the chances of snow in eastern Pennsylvania, southern New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, even up to Boston, there's a chance you guys don't get much at all from this storm system. All right, so moving beyond Friday into this weekend, we still have the trough in place over the east. And with it, there could be new systems that form off the New England coast. And with it, there's another chance for the I-95 corridor, let's say to the north and east of New York City, towards Boston, at least of some light snow as we get into the weekend. Inland, there could be an area of moderate to heavy snowfall over New England. But again, that's still a few days out and could change. But what's more likely is the system over the Great Lakes, this cutoff low here over Michigan, will likely deliver 1 to 3 inches of snowfall over a period of a couple of days. And then a secondary low pressure system over Minnesota could develop as we get into the day Sunday. An Alberta clipper type that will be moving out of Canada. And that could form another system as we get into Monday or Tuesday of next week, especially if it taps into some jet energy as we get towards the day Monday. I do want to kind of focus in on the temperatures Friday morning. You can see, broadly speaking, temperatures below freezing down into northern portions of Florida. Even some single digits here over the Appalachians of North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia. And then another broad area of single digits from Ohio into New York State and Maine. So we have two really cold regions setting up Friday morning here of single digit temperatures, at least potentially. And then moving forward in time, you can see this other push of cold air that will likely move out of Canada as we get into the weekend. I do want to point out Friday afternoon that temperatures will soar into the 50s and 60s for much of the West Coast. So if you're living from Seattle down into Portland, down to San Francisco, all the way down to Los Angeles, temperatures warming from the 50s into the 60s for Friday afternoon. You'll notice the same is true for much of, let's say, Arizona into southern Texas, Louisiana, parts of Mississippi and Alabama. Temperatures will be in the 50s and 60s. So there will be some warm areas of the country even as we get late in the week. But broadly speaking, you can see, again, that cold air rushing out of Canada once again as we get towards the weekend. So we'll have another reinforcing shot for, let's say, the mid-Atlantic and Northeast as that next clipper system moves in. Well, guys, we'll leave it at that today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. It looks like we do have snow chances for anywhere from West Virginia through western Pennsylvania and New York, up through much of New England for the day Thursday into Friday. A general 1 to 3 inches of snowfall for most of you guys. But again, where you have lake enhancement or graphic lifting involved, could see some areas of 5 to 8 inches, broadly speaking. Some 10-inch amounts could occur, but again, likely the GFS is overestimating those amounts. But generally speaking, we do have colder than normal air moving in for much of the country, especially east of the Rockies. West of the Rockies, again above average temperatures for the west coast, especially during the day Friday. But we'll leave it at that for now. Have a great week.